This is the voice of freedom. We are not one voice. We are many. We are your voice. But we can only be effective if you use your voice. Your voice. This is the voice of freedom. We will not hide from the truth. We will ask the hard questions until we are sure we have the truth. Welcome to the voice of freedom, where your voice will never be silenced. Well, welcome to Friday night, folks. It is the free-for-all. We do like getting together on a Friday night, just have a little bit of a chat. I was going to tell you, share with you tonight, just for the very first time, and I'll send my daughter a text and get her to deliver it. It is Friday night, and it's been a while since I've actually had a drink. And I thought tonight I'd share a scotch with you. So let me just make a slight mess of this and send my daughter a text and ask her to bring one in for me. I can't talk and type at the same time. It's like last night, folks. You know, you get to that last 2 seconds and you think, oh, I forgot to bring something in. So there you go. We'll fire that one off. Friday, been an interesting day. Lots of interesting things have happened, and I've had a whole heap of interesting conversations with some very interesting people. The free for all tonight, haven't got too much planned. We've got some interesting videos to show you, got a few interesting memes to show you. We'll talk about some interesting stories that seem to be popping up, and we'll talk about all that with this ugly bastard who has decided to drop in for the night. How are you, mate?
Maybe you and me got the same daddy out there. Where was your milkman at? Who knows?
Yeah, that's true. That's true, mate. I am adopted after all. So, hey,
Carl, I know this is not a true statement, folks, but anything's possible in this world that we're living in today, mate. It is just absolutely off its guts, mate. So, yeah.
Yep. You are 100% on the money there, my friend. 100% on the money.
Yeah,
let me just have a look. I've been running sort of behind times here today. So Starsties and Patriots of Down Under are in tonight. Hey.
Cool.
Roger that. Got your message. All good. I understand. I'll go and have a look in the email. That's all flash. A lot of people sending in photos of cloud, sky striping, I think we're going to call it. So I don't know about you, Guru. Have you seen much down your way? What's the weather been like down south?
Actually, I was very surprised over the mountain the other day, which was Thursday. Yesterday we had, and I blew out. It was like some natural weather, Carl. We had the cold burst come through off the snowy mountains. It carried a little bit of sheety rain in it. You know what I mean? Those things you see up over the highlands there from where I live. So I was actually very enthused that I actually felt some actual natural weather. But now, look, mate, they're back at it again, Carl. We know that. You and I have been talking, during the week and that. And, I sort of half mentioned something, but I just said the bloke who's going to break it will break it. And, you've got some interesting stuff coming up and that on a future show, Carl. But, folks, look, there's a lot going on up there. And, look, we don't know. We're trying to piece it together. Everybody is, but we've been told and we know and we can look up and find out that this has been registered for use. This has been registered for use. This is pending. This is registered for use. This is pending. So we know what's going on, okay? We've just got to lock them up in a bag, Carl, and head out to the airport with 1,000 people, mate. And I don't know what we're going to do. We were talking about this tonight, Carl. It's just got to a stage where we have to group up as people and just stop this tyrannical idiocracy. That's all it is. It's idiocracy. It's just ridiculous. So,
no fun at all. Right. So thanks to Peter. Yes, I did forget something, but it is now here. Oh, is it even going to pick it up? I don't mind the jammo. So can I offer you a hard-earned thirst quenched for a Friday, folks? You've done another great week. Congratulations to you. Lovely to be part of you. This is the first drink I've had. Gee, I think I had half a scotch at Harvey Bay. Then everything went to shit. It wound up getting warm on the end of the bar while you did all the talking. That's how I remember that.
Well. And look, folks, you are. You people out there deserve to, have a drink, have a toast, have whatever, because I tell you, this has been one hell of a war, guys. And you are the people that are still here, all right? You have stood your ground with us, okay? And yeah, me and Carl both, you know what I mean? We respect all you viewers because, as I've said 1,000 times at Canberra, and that me and Bosie, Mark, Mac, we can all have a stage. But guess what? If there's no one in front of a stage to talk to and to communicate with, there's no use us doing it. So you are the important people in this. We are just the influencers or voices, as we call it, you know, the voice of freedom. Here we are, okay? But you are the works of freedom, you people out there, okay?
Yep, and we can't do it without you folks. We are two voices. You are a whole heap more, many voices. And what we're trying to do is bring those voices together and all be singing from the same hymn book at the same time, right when the chorus, which will have a rope in it somewhere, and it'll have a real swinging beat. I'm going to promise you that. Okay. Hey, I've got a couple of little interesting things here that I would like to talk about and share this evening. So I guess let's start with the cloud seeding or the sky striping, as I tried to do there before. Now, Guru, you and I have been speaking extensively off the air and on the air and various programs, trying to ask what's going on. I've come across a couple of guys who are absolutely pedantic airplane trackers, and they have all the details of all these aircraft all over the place, and they raise some very good points when they present their images. Now, I haven't got any of those images loaded up tonight because I received an email 3 minutes before we went to air tonight from a gentleman who puts forward, after the last 2 years of doing what these fellas have been doing and doing some deep research into it, puts forward a very valid reason for a lot of these long-range, turning up, doing squiggles over an area and flying home again kind of flights. And he knows this because he contacted one of the companies. They were very surprised, very shocked, but they did give truthful answers. The fact is, they are flying, taking aerial photographs. They're doing it for Google Maps. So there are a number of small to medium-sized airlines in this country that have Google Maps contracts. So that's why you will see aircraft fly from Albury to Townsville, fly over Townsville, do a mapping track, because that's what when we see those straight lines going back over areas, that's called a mapping track. And that is exactly what they're doing. They're taking images, pictures. It's aerial photography to be used, I would suspect, in Google Earth. Now, this is something that I can agree with wholeheartedly. And I will go and check, but it's fallen on me. Yeah, I would think that's very highly possible, highly plausible. We would know because of the kind of equipment that they've got on the aircraft, and I'm sure if we asked the question, the ones that are based here or near me or near you would be happy to show it. However, this gentleman also points out that he's been doing this for 2 years and he has a shitload of data on these kinds of flights, far more than any normal geographic mapping, surveying kind of job would entail. So there is still a question mark. There is a lot of things flying around in the air, doing a lot of things. We're no closer to finding out exactly what those things are, and I think it's about time we sort of took stock, calmed down a little bit, started some clear thinking, and a little bit of analysis. Really, I don't know that there's much point in pushing either side of the argument any further until somebody gets a look inside one of those aircraft. And the only way that you're ever going to be able to do that is to get airside. And the only way we're going to know that they're spraying something is if you look in the window and see that there are tanks instead of seats in the back of the aircraft. But if there are seats and boxes of electronic gear, then you are looking at a mapping aircraft or a data logging aircraft. So very valid points, and I think people who are getting very excited about, particularly when you see an aircraft fly a long distance to fly a certain and a very defined, tight pattern over a small town, over a medium-sized town, or over a large city. In some cases, can't say all cases, but in some cases, we suspect that is Google Maps. It seems pretty fair and reasonable. What do you think?
Yeah, okay. So would that be part of there's something sinister in it. There's got to be. There's always something sinister. So would it be part of their Google Maps thing for the smart cities? Are these places that are getting heavily surveyed, are they on the smart cities network or layout as we know it? That'd be
certainly
one thing.
Townsville.
Yeah.
Yep. The map that I saw earlier, or the flight that occurred day before yesterday in Townsville is very definitely all over Townsville City. Townsville area.
So there's number one thing that I'd look at. I'd try and look at if we could overlay all them and find out that it ran down the east coast and it was actually in the line of where they want their high-speed rail and their...
Yeah, I think you'll find Toowoomba have signed up to the Smart City project. Newcastle, Wollongong. I want to say Rockhampton for some reason is signed up to.
Cheryl, you watching, Cheryl? If you're watching, let us know, Cheryl, if Rocky's signed up.
So yeah, I think worth considering.
Now that's number one. Number two is, I got no doubt that Google has to do that. We see their cars driving around the street, so they've got to get their their other views from somewhere, Carl. Yep, that's cool. But also, I know that they do have some planes out there, and they can do. And I think, this would happen here in Australia, but a lot in America, and they do, which is surveillance jobs. So they can actually take or put into your computer what they want to do. Okay, or they can program to pick up all the phone calls in one area. They can program to pick up all the emails in one area. Okay, so we do have this high tech stuff where they're surveilling on us, folks. Okay, it's all part of the Five Eyes program. Okay, and believe me, it happens too. So look, there's a lot of different aspects to this. We can't say everything up there is crooked. Okay, but we know that there's things up there that are crooked. All right, and they're the ones we need to isolate, find, and maneuver on, I think, Carl. So this could be a good thing to do. We need people to help us do this.
Yeah, that's right. We can't be everywhere. That's why, as I said last night, we need you to be the eyes and ears, so that we know what's going on. And clearly, by the flood of emails, I mean, I don't know, last time I looked, there was 354 emails in there today from folks who've been sending pictures in from all over the country. So thank you very much, folks. And I've got to move house.
Just spoiled my whole day.
No, something else did that. But I started off with a great day, and then wound up having to do stuff that I just didn't have time to do, but had to do it anyway. So
mate.
Which leads me to the next point. I had a magnificent lunch today with a couple here on the Sunshine Coast who turned into magnificent friends. They got behind me when I stood for A1 or tried to nominate for A1 at the federal election. They've decided that they want to get together and put a show on here on the Sunshine Coast, and they asked whether or not I'd be happy for them to do that. And I said, I'm absolutely happy for you to do that. Let's go and have lunch and talk about it. So we had a lovely lunch today, and I can tell you, bloody lovely lunch at the Waterfront Tavern in Diddillaba here on the Sunshine Coast. And they have a room. Now, the room is not huge. We could probably get about 150 people in there, but they are very happy to let us have the room, provided a few people want to book in for dinner first. So that seems quite fair, as it is a small room, and 150 really will cap it out. I have been asked by a lot of people to do something on the Sunshine Coast, so this room may not be big enough. But as it turns out, I'm going to be back on the Sunshine Coast all of that week and all of the following week, working on the local radio station doing the breakfast show while the fella has a week off or 2 weeks off. So we could do another show the following week on the 28th. At the moment, the first show is going to be the 21st of September at the Waterfront Tavern in Diddillaba. So that's on David Low Way for folks who are on the Sunshine Coast. It's about 30 minutes from Noosa. It's about 30 minutes from Caloundra. It's sort of right in the middle. And I can vouch for the meal. We had a magnificent lunch today, very reasonable prices. And it's the first time, Guru, I've ever been to a place where you don't have to touch anything or talk to anybody to order anything. You beat, this QR code that's on your table. Order your food. If you want a beer, they bring it over to you. It's all just.
I wouldn't have ate because I wouldn't know how to freaking Q code. So I would have been, Carl, you're ordering for me, buddy.
Well, I didn't do any ordering, mate. We left that up to Donna. She was the smart one at the table, trust me. So, and she knows it, don't you, Donna, love? Donna's recently had some back surgery, so we wish her all the best as well. And look forward to pulling through. So anyway, 21st of September on the Sunshine Coast. That's going to be the next show here. Well, the first show here on the Sunshine Coast. If you want to get along to it, then ring the Waterfront Tavern in Diddillaba and tell them that you want to book for the Voice of Freedom show on the 21st of September. That way we can actually keep track of numbers and we don't have 500 people turning up into a room that can't fit you. Not that I think for a second we're going to get 500 people, but we need to
get 500 people because we need to wake up, folks. Sorry, you people that are watching are awake, all right? But we need to get people woken up, okay? And seriously, we need to be putting a foot forward, guys. We got to get on the offensive. All right, we've been on the defensive for nearly 3 years now, and we need to get on the offensive and start walking up to these corporations that are legally screwing our frigging lives, okay? I'm still on the rant, Carl, okay? And we got to get together and stand up to them, guys. We got to pick a fight, all right? Get a group of people and pick a fight you know you can win, all right? And take them on because these guys have no authority, no power, and they are destroying our lives. We are winning the war. We are winning the information war as far as they're concerned because they are coming hard at us. So, guys, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's show them what we've got.
Angela asks a good question. For those that lost their jobs, are you applying for and securing employment now? She's only just started applying for jobs, but still feels so damaged by how she was treated. Yeah. I think that's the issue with everybody, isn't it? I mean, for those of us that are in our current position, I call awake, 90%, if not more, have probably developed some kind of a side hustle. They've had to live under such constraints for such a long period of time that because humans, decent humans, are resilient and creative people, have come up with ways to, okay, it might mean a few less bucks in the house every month, but we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll do something else. People have made do, they've changed the way they do things, and they've changed their lives to accommodate the restrictions that have been put on, and frankly, have figured out they can live a pretty reasonable life just the way they're doing it. Thank you very much. They don't need to go back to that boss that they didn't really like, who never showed them respect or very little of it. They're not the kind of person who can go to that boss every 12 months or every 2 years or every 10 years and say, can I have a pay rise? Because, everything else has gone up and nothing here has. These are the people who have figured out, I don't have to go back to that kind of job. I don't need to go back to a shitty waitressing job where some fat slob of a man who's having a bad day starts abusing me because, there's not enough froth on the top of his coffee. Why would you put yourself through that? You wouldn't. I think, rightly or wrongly, I think that's probably where OnlyFans has managed to pick up a lot of new exhibitors, I guess is the way you describe them. Members, but yeah, people have figured out a side hustle. So so for folks in the chat, did you lose your job to the juicy dart? Thank you, Mason. The juicy dart, as Fitz termed it. Did you lose your job to that because you refused to accept it? And have you decided not to reapply for your job or not to apply for any job? Did they treat you badly? Did they hunt you out of your job? And you think, well, hang on, I've got everything I want now. The wife's happy. I'm happy. We're both doing a few hours a week doing what we love. We've got more time to spend with the kids. We've got our little side hustle, be that making something, baking something, creating something, because that's what, we do, folks. We are creative thinkers. That's why we didn't get taken in by the juicy dart. we've always had an eye open to reality because we live in it and we've lived a hard life in it. So at any rate, that's just me ranting on a little bit. I'd like to think that we can get a few people turn up on the Sunshine Coast too. So if you'd like to come along for a meeting and a show, we'll see what we can arrange on the 21st of September on the Sunshine Coast at the water. What did I call it? Not the Watermark, because that's a thing on the Gold Coast. Waterfront Tavern. Yeah. God, sorry. I drive past it 5 times a day. Waterfront Tavern.
And all these things that are on, folks, get involved in them. Okay, because what they're doing is they're creating public awareness. People are going, oh, what's going on in there? We saw it up at Harvey Bay, Carl? People coming in from over the pub, as the night was sort of getting longer. And and it was good. We got normies to have a listen to us, and that's what we need, folks. So it does create awareness when you get a group of people out there in the community at a place getting together. People want to know what's going on. Everyone's inquisitive, so just being there makes a difference.
Andrew, I think you'll find in regards to your question that most of these flights that we're referring to do just that. They fly a cardinal path. So I guess that could be the identification point for the ones we're not too sure of. Like the ones that wind up doing big circles while they're doing crisscrosses and all that. They sort of wind up doing loops over the top and that doesn't seem like a mapping run to me, but that's that'd be my take on that. They do need to fly cardinal if they're doing like Google Earth mapping. Absolutely. Jindalee likes flying over Shepparton. So did I. The last time I stopped in Shepparton, they robbed the house I was in. So it's always good to fly over Shepparton. Mind you, I'm going back a few years. That was like 1989. So it's been a few years since I've lived in Shep. But I've one of those blokes, Guru, who's lived all over the place. Just trying to have a bit of a glance through some questions here. Pilot's parents are back from Harvey Bay. Hi, guys. Lovely to see you. Chew's back in the building tonight. Thank you, Chew. Yes. Now, Chew, has I correctly identified the bill going through? Well, it has gone through, Chew. It's called the Intercept and Disrupt Bill. Identify, isn't it? Identify, intercept, and disrupt. Guru's the man to speak about that.
Yeah, we know about it very well. We can give you first-hand information on it if you want it. We deal with it every day. Folks, they're using it. Believe me, they are using it against us, all right? And they are using everything they got. Why? Because we're winning. So let's step up the pace, folks. Let's go for it. We're on the front foot.
So Mama San has asked, don't they use satellites for Google Earth? Well, that would depend on which version of the Earth you think you're on, whether or not satellites really exist. And yes, they do if you believe one way. No, they don't if you believe another. I actually believe Google Earth is a complete artificial construct. And until you get down into the nitty-gritty of the streets and even like Google Street View, obviously, they do that with a car that drives around. We've all seen the car that drives around with the camera on the roof doing that. Well, the aircraft need to do the same thing. So a satellite view, unless Google are employing spy-type satellites technology, then they're only going to have a resolution down to maybe, well, it could be as big as a kilometre by a kilometre. And then it could be bigger than that. It could be 5 kilometres by 5 kilometres. It could be 10 kilometres by 10 kilometres. And that will depend then at the height the aircraft has to come in to take its real picture imaging. And when you zoom in from space, if you like, on Google Earth, you will see that there is not a glitch, but the screen changes as the real images of the Earth take place, the images that would have been taken from an aircraft. And so when you go over a town in satellite view, you are seeing a picture from an aircraft, not a satellite, because Google don't employ satellites that have, half meter by half meter resolution. So they can, those are the kind of spy satellites that can read the newspaper over your shoulder, that kind of thing.
Five eyes.
Yeah. Well, Five Eyes is dead now, so there's only 3 eyes, and we're wondering about one of those still. So,
okay, fair point. But they're still out there doing their crap, and they're still using what they got from it. Yeah,
Uh,
they're data collection.
yeah, I think there's some interesting things happening in Canada at the moment.
You're right. We had a bit on
And
the show.
yeah, there seems to be a lot more exposing going on of that stupid little tart over there too. What's his name? Trudeau.
Trudeau.
Or, every time I think, what's his name? I think Castro. Oh no, Trudeau.
Yeah. That's his dad, Carl. That's his dad. You got it wrong, mate.
I know. Well, it wouldn't be the first thing I get wrong. All right, so just trying to scan through a few of these comments here. You guys seem to be looking after yourself and playing nice tonight. I'm really pleased about that. So let me get back into a few of the bits here that I would like to show you.
I'm just having a biscuit because I got late too. I had to do an early live stream to get over here with Carl, so I'm just having a quick chocolate biscuit and a coffee while we're relaxing on a Friday night.
So I want to play a video, folks. This is Boris Johnson, who has, in all his grandeur and success, been to the UN on a number of occasions and has, uttered, bullshit, basically, I think is the best of what I could probably brand him as.
Yep.
Somebody had the forethought to put it all together into a video. Now, while it does essentially look like all this was taken from the same speech, it does not look like it was all said sequentially. It looks like this has been selectively edited and put together. But there is no doubting what he has said here. So while you swallow your biscuit, let's just have a little watch of this. It goes a couple of minutes. So have a watch of this, folks.
I invite him to address the General Assembly.
Thank you. Mr. President, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, faithful late-night audience, no one can ignore a gathering force that is reshaping the future of every member of this assembly. There has been nothing like it in history. In the digital age, you may keep your secrets from your friends, from your parents, your children, your doctor, even your personal trainer. But it takes real effort to conceal your thoughts from Google. And if that is true today, in future, there may be nowhere to hide. Smart cities will pullulate with sensors, all joined together by the Internet of Things. But this technology could also be used to keep every citizen under round-the-clock surveillance. A future Alexa will pretend to take orders, but this Alexa will be watching you, clucking her tongue and stamping her foot. In future, voice connectivity will be in every room and almost every object. Your mattress will monitor your nightmares. Your fridge will beat for more cheese. Your front door will sweep wide the moment you approach like some silent butler. Your smart meter will go hustling of its own accord for the cheapest electricity, and every one of them minutely transcribing your every habit in tiny electronic shorthand, stored not in their chips or in their innards, nowhere you can find it, but in some great cloud of data that lowers ever more oppressively over the human race. A giant, dark thundercloud waiting to burst, and we have no control over how or when the precipitation will take place. And every day that we tap on our phones or work on our iPads, as I see some of you are doing now, we not only leave our indelible spoor in the ether, but we are ourselves becoming a resource, click by click, tap by tap. Should the machines, and only the machines, decide whether or not we are eligible for a mortgage or insurance, or what surgery or medicines we should receive? Are we doomed to a cold and heartless future in which computer says yes or computer says no, with the grim finality of an emperor in the arena? How do you plead with an algorithm? How do you get it to see extenuating circumstances? And how do we know that the machines have not been insidiously programmed to fool us or even to cheat us? Will nanotechnology help us to beat disease, or will it leave tiny robots to replicate in the crevices of our souls. It is a trope, revolutionizing medicine by designing robots a fraction of the size of a red blood cell, capable of swimming through our bodies. At stake is whether we bequeath an Orwellian world designed for censorship and repression and control, how we design the emerging technologies behind these breakthroughs, and what values inform their design will shape the future of humanity. And that is my point to you tonight, my friends. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your kind attention.
I thank the Prime Minister of...
Well, how's that piece of shit, hey?
Was that just that was just crazy. He spoke so much truth there with a load of hogwash, you know what I mean? But what he was saying, he was putting out exactly. Someone's cut that in, Carl, or I don't know. That was just like crazy, yeah. But this is what these people are. They're absolute idiots, all right? They're given a narrative and they just preach it. You know what I mean? And speak it. But yeah, Boris, look, all of them. Yeah.
He was boasting about it. I mean, he was saying it in what I would say was a boastful manner, or do you think I'm being a bit soft there?
No. He was. Look, if that was a real, if he's done that and that's real and that's not cut, photoshopped or whatever, which all the visuals look the same, and it seemed to fit pretty well, mouth to piece and everything else. So I don't know, but yeah, it's just in our face, Carl. They are so in our face now. So you're probably correct.
Oh yeah,
they are just like spitting in our face.
Yeah, absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. All right, listen, I want to move on to. Oh, Kazzie's in the shop. Look out, the super producer. Hello, Kaz. How are you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Oh, you're a bit quiet. Where's your microphone? Have you hidden it somewhere special and dark?
I'll turn it up. No, I don't have a microphone. Let's go.
Oh, there you go.
How's that?
Yeah, that's much better. How's your week been?
Yeah, good. Really busy though. But yeah, just on Boris, they're going for broke. It's a race to the finish line between them and us. And you can see what they're up to. They're not hiding anything. Now, for years, us conspiracy theorists have been waiting because when they uncloak, they'd have to uncloak at some stage when they rolled out the big plan. And now they're actually uncloaking. So now they're actually exposed. This is when they're actually the most vulnerable. That's why they're going for broke. That's why they've got their pedal to the metal.
Yeah. And they are certainly working it, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
Working it big time. I know that you guys are familiar with Michelle Lee. Michelle is currently, I think, on about day 16 of her row across the Pacific Ocean, and she has been posting quite regularly on her Facebook page. And there was something today. I just thought I might read it because we are all facing challenges at the moment. But Michelle is out there rowing across the Pacific alone, unassisted.
What a woman.
Yeah, what a woman. So this report from her came in this morning at about 10 to 6. So let me read this to you. Things are changing a little more in my favour. Currents that were against me are a little less so now. I now have an ability to row at a higher angle. Previously, I was struggling to pull 100 degrees, and I'm actually doing 220 degrees today. I need to go southwest, and I've been battling with easterlies. I've been rowing in a particular direction thanks to advice from my professional weather router, who will give me a waypoint. A waypoint is just an aim point to get to each day, a direction more than anything. Sometimes we can achieve this and other days we can't achieve it because of the winds and the current, but at least it gives me something to aim for. So there is a plan, even though I may drift this way and that. I have goals and I'm striving for them thanks to my professional router who gives me the goal. There has been constant challenges of currents and waves and winds, but things are turning more in her favour now. The more west she goes, and the more west I get in my row south, I will end up in the conditions that are more favourable having to go through. By 7:30 every night, she's put the boat away and bunkered down. She can't even consider rowing in the conditions at night at the moment. The conditions are such that the sea state is variable and so messy and sloppy that you need to be able to see where you're putting your oar. The force of the water against her rib, where the oar would finish if she got something wrong, would easily break her rib, and obviously that's not going to be pretty good on a solo attempt across the Pacific Ocean. You need to concentrate and focus where the oar goes in, she says. It's not flat. She's rowing over mountains of water, going up and down massive mountains of water, and needs to focus on every stroke. Hence, every day it has been very taxing for her. So I thought, because she's been pretty flash, we would show this little video of her too, which she also uploaded a little later on this afternoon. Now, you appreciate she's using a satellite phone, and so it's exceptionally expensive. This is only 16 seconds long, but here's Michelle on the Pacific.
Thanks, guys. I spoke to Ricardo and Rhiannon today from A1. I've been trying to ring Richard from the Keys, and tonight I'll ring Janine from Silver. They're the guys that help make this happen, and my family. I can't forget my family.
Wow. So what a woman. Just amazing. Can't believe the strength that she has. Absolutely amazing. So that's a good story. I wanted to share that. Oh, yeah. Hang on a minute. I'm getting a bit excited. That was her heading out. So, yeah, just an amazing woman. And I fear for her every day. But, God, the strength of her, absolutely amazing. So that was a good story that I wanted to bring today. I actually have another little good story, but we'll get to that soon. There are a few little memes. I thought I'd try and give us a laugh because, well, it's been one of those weeks, hasn't it, really? So I thought I'd share a meme with us. Why is talking sexually in the workplace considered sexual harassment to adults, but talking about sexuality to children at school is considered essential?
Well, could we have any lefty out there answer that question for us? I don't know.
Yeah, don't know about that one. What about this? That special moment when you realise that COVID testers aren't quarantined after coming into contact with those who test positive. And they never mention a testing site as an exposure site, ever. That's something to think about. We've all seen that before. AFRA, now they've been in the news this week. You spoke to Dr. William Bay. We'll get to that in a minute. Now, AFRA are backpedaling, faking authority. It would appear their staff are reading things like the LIBOR Code, the Hague Conventions, the Geneva Conventions, an act to constitute the Commonwealth of Australia, the AKJB, the Nuremberg Codes, the Declaration of Human Rights, the UN Charter, and many more ancestral foundational documents, all while defecating in their underwear. Well, beautiful.
Yes, I think AFRA and a few other people have got some big things to come.
Yep. And here we go. We've got a few of them in there tonight. Folks are so programmed, they'll debate you over things they have never researched. Isn't that something we come into contact with every day?
Every day.
Seriously.
Absolutely every day. We get them on the show every night, Carl. We actually let one on the show the other night, had a guy come on who wanted to come on with the opposite angle, you know what I mean? And,
You should have been in their pre-show, Carl. It was a bit of a show already.
Yeah, I bet.
But, I've sort of made a rule with them now, Carl, that if they can come on my show, I don't mind them coming on my show. What they need to do is they need to pick one of the topics that I've done over the last 3 years, prove to me where I was wrong, and then bring their facts onto my show to debate with me. And then I'll let them back on.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. You won't have too many coming on your show, obviously, because I don't have too many facts to back them up, but it's a good offer. It's a good offer. For my money. Sorry, Kat.
Do you know what's really interesting? Tonight we went early, and so our trolls missed us. And it's kind of, they haven't clocked in yet? Is that what the situation is? They only clock in at a certain time?
Yeah.
You've got to ask these questions. It's like the long weekend I think it was in Melbourne. There were a heap of trolls. There were suddenly no trolls around. Like on the, like I noticed them particularly, no trolls at Twitter and a really lack of trolls at Facebook. And it's kind of like, isn't that interesting? So is that where our comments are actually coming from?
Well, I know that one fella I've had an off-air argument with on Messenger is a bot.
You're arguing with a computer,
I
Carl.
was arguing with the bloody. I mean, not recently. I've figured it out now. But yeah, I did have a half-hour argument with a bot once. I was
Carl,
really
I have something. Carl, I have something to let go of.
Yeah.
I done it too until Kaz told me that I was arguing with a bot. I didn't know.
Yeah, must be something about age, mate. I don't know how that works, but anyway, yeah. All right, so let's have a look at the latest things that make you go, list. How big is 1%? In 1918, the Spanish flu killed 50 million. In 1918, the world population was 950 million or thereabouts. In 1918, 5.26% of the world's population died in that tragic event of the Spanish flu, which we know was now instigated by the same people playing around with the spicy flu. So in 2018, the seasonal flu killed 650,000 people. The total population of the world was 7.5 billion. That was 0.009% of the world population that died. It was a typical year. In 2020, the slutty flu came through, 488,729 dead and counting. 7.7 billion here in the world. That's 0.006 of the world's population has died. And the experts say the world is coming to an end. Shut all business down. Close the churches. Ruin the world's economy. So that's 1% of the world's population right now. That would be 77 million dead. Now, if 5.26 is a tragic event and 0.009 is no big deal, what the hell is going on? But why is it that these figures are available to us and the people watching online now will understand that? In the majority, there'll be some there who'll just say, somebody just made up a whole heap of bullshit figures. Well, we say the same thing about the figures you believe in, but we can prove differently. You try doing it your way. If you can prove your figures are straight, we're all ears. Absolutely. And if you're capable of that, then you probably won't want to fight me on this one either.
Yeah.
And then there's this one, because I know there's a few baffled doctors out there, really, really baffled doctors. And I'm sorry, I'm on a bit of a share phase here at the moment. God help me look out.
Go for it.
This, I think, is one of the best headlines I've come across all day. Man tests positive for the spicy flu, monkeypox, and HIV after coming home from a holiday.
Wow.
In Spain. He'd been fully jabbed up before going on his holiday to Spain. He had sex with a man while he was away and has come home to the spicy flu, positive spicy flu, monkeypox, and HIV. And they're still trying to say that is because of his behavior.
Yeah, he had sex with somebody. Yeah, that's and a male. This is what they do, folks.
It
This
works
is just
before, though.
manipulation at its best.
So we know what's in the jab.
It's worked before, though, with the HIV thing. That's why they're going with it.
Yeah.
So that's why.
And we know that HIV is in the juicy dart. We know it's in it. So, there's no point going and claiming on that. The other big news today that I found, and I haven't, but I suppose I could go to the website and see if they've got a news story up on it. Have you seen today how long COVID is back in the news? Long COVID is now responsible for 31,000 people in the last month not turning up to work, or might have been 31,000 people in the last week not turning up to work. Overall, there is a huge portion of the population that is out sick, calling in sick every day. But long COVID is the thing. If you want to avoid long COVID, avoid the spicy flu. And to avoid the spicy flu, get the juicy dart. That's the way you avoid all that. Can I make it sound any more stupid for you?
Carl, you've nearly convinced me to go and get a jab, mate. You put it that well.
Yeah, but you think the juicy dart is juicy fruit, don't you? So yeah, that's the big thing. Now, I remember that thing Tracy Spicer writing about her long COVID condition. She was the first mainstream media article I remember reading that named long COVID. Now, we all know that long COVID means that you're suffering issues probably related to your heart, and you're taking a lot longer to get over it. You might be suffering myocarditis, you might be suffering pericarditis, you might be suffering quite a number of myitises. But at the end of the day, they're calling it, oh, it's just a hangover. They're trying to pass it off like Ross River fever. You know, it's something you get and it just sticks with you for a while. And they're not saying like Ross River fever, it might stick with you for years. Well, it probably won't stick with you for years. I think most people who suffer from it will eventually die from it, unfortunately. But how do we make them aware? What can they do about it? I don't know. You know,
myalgia, Ross River fever, chronic fatigue. I think they're all, and I'm not a doctor here. This is my opinion only, folks. Okay. I think that they're all related to our food chain and our lifestyle of this age, Carl, because we never had it before. You know, look, something I always used to preach before I even got into this, Carl, into this business was I never, ever put, now tell me why, I never put sunscreen near me or my kids, ever. And my ex-wife used to go off ahead. If you're taking them kids, you get that sunscreen on, Pep. And I go, yeah. And they pack it for me, you know, never use it. Now we know that we never had skin cancer until we started using sun cream. Now, people, that's a fact. We did not have skin cancer till we started using sunscreen. Research it. Okay? This is how far back these guys have been into us. Okay? This is how far back. All right? They've been loading us up. Fluorides, bullshit, this, that, the other, chlorine. Okay? And it's been happening for a long time. And these chronic fatigues and things like that. Now, I've been through this process with the doctors because I got bit by, you don't even know, Carl, I got bit by a white-tipped spider, about 12, 13 years ago now, and I nearly lost this arm, guys. I got bit on that wrist there, and I'm telling you, I was in Macquarie Street Hospital in Sydney under the best plastic surgeon there was, and I nearly lost an arm. Okay, but for the grace of God, and a lot of people praying for me, I think, was the only reason, but I was left with a nerve. So what we think after researching, because we're researchers, folks, okay, and we don't take anything. So we research, Mel, more than me, but we research what could have gone on to give me the effects that I got off this white-tipped spider. Then we found out that white-tipped spiders eat daddy longlegs, and we know that daddy longlegs are a highly necrotic venom, but they can't bite you. But they have a very, very highly necrotic venom. So then we worked out that possibly the white-tip ate a daddy longlegs before he got to Guru's wrist, and there come the necrosis side of and the nerve side of what I was suffering. So I've been down this fibromyalgia trip, okay, and I'm still put up with stuff, okay, but I don't think about it now and I don't deal with it because I don't let it in. I've changed my perspective on it, you know what I mean? But they put me on these drugs. They tried me on giving me these pills and that, and I'm telling you, they're not good. Like gabapentin was one. What was the other one? Oh, Lyrica. Then they tried me on Lyrica. And I tell you, Carl, I'm a cat, mate. I can still walk across beams on a roof that are this wide, mate. No worries. One end to the other, you know? Yeah. Mate, I'm on roofs. I'm hanging on to things. I'm walking into walls with my shoulder. Like crazy stuff. The drugs they wanted to put me on. But I still believe that was a case of mine. But I still believe that this is a toxicity build-up in people's bodies that these guys have been doing for a long, long time. All your underarm spray cans, man, they're spraying aluminium straight into your lymph nodes.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like, and we were doing it for years, man. If you went to the club can, you use half a can, mate.
I keep the can to remind myself not to buy it.
Okay.
Because that's exactly what you don't want to be putting in your armpit.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff that's been happening to us, folks, and we just got to clear it up. Let's just win the war. Clear it up. Let's get a good life. Let's do this.
Yeah, yeah. Mind you, I've really found using the Odie cologne that I paid $110 for, 12 months ago to put under my arms, it burns, and it doesn't last real long, and I'm not sure it's that effective. So I know there is a leaf that you can get. I don't know if you can get it anywhere near me or you, but there is a leaf that you can get if you suffer from really bad underarm perspiration. in Australia, we have a leaf that you can rub under your arm, no more perspiration. Well, for the day.
Homemade deodorant. It's actually really easy. It's just bicarb soda, some cream.
Everything's bicarb. Bicarb white vinegar. And
Yeah, no, it's pretty easy to make. It's, you know, you can make a great big, and just basically, and then put some essential oils in it. And it's not that hard at all. And coconut oil. I mean, it's hard.
Mel does all her cooking, all of her cleaning and that like that. It's vinegar, lemon juice, and bicarb soda.
Yep. That's the way we used to. Well, we used to use bleach on the limos occasionally too in the right places. But that's a whole other story.
I didn't use bleach on my boat.
No. No, of course not. All right, I've got another little video I'd like to share. This is for one. It just caught me off guard, and I just thought, what a really good way of getting the message across. And it's an older American who's got involved with it. So I want to bring this one up.
You know, I was just down in the tack room and spied this old bridle hanging there on the wall. And although it's 80 to 100 years old, it got me thinking of today. And not so much the horses, but the people. This bridle's got a specific design. Those blinders are there so that while working, the animal can't get distracted with what's going on this side. It can't get distracted with what's going on that side. It sure as hell doesn't know what's going on behind it. All it knows is to go straight ahead and do what it's told. Sound familiar? Well, folks, it's about time that everybody stopped and took their fucking blinders off and best look behind you, because the World Economic Forum just came up torch in hand and lit your fucking wagon on fire. Everything that you know, your entire way of life, is under direct assault from them sons of bitches right now. Your sovereignty in the nation that you live, your financial stability, your food source, your energy source, your transportation, and your freedom as a human being are all under direct attack by Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum. It is Mr. Schwab's intention in his fourth industrial revolution to integrate your biological self with your digital self, to remove God from the equation, the miracle of life. These fuckers are serious, people. They're playing for keeps. This isn't a joke. So it is time. Take your blinders off. Look around you. Realize what's going on. There's some serious shit coming up behind you. Once you see what's going on and you arm yourself with facts, start telling people. This is where we have to sway the mass of consciousness. We have to make people aware. Information is invaluable right now. That's your ammunition. You are a warrior. Use your accurate information and truth. Spread it. Get in the fight. I love each and every one of you.
What a marvelous man.
Yeah, I've actually seen that clip, Carl. Very inspiring, mate. And that clip actually sent me off on a couple of rants, you know what I mean? Because he's right. They are so far up our ass, mate, that, you know, you got no idea. The people on this channel know. All right, but we've got to try and wake up these people. The weekend's coming, folks. Like I said on my show, get out in your coffee shop lines. Start a loud conversation. Talk to your friends, okay, that are awake like you, and start the conversations in the lines, okay? Get people thinking, all right? And the political aspect, the atmosphere at the moment is an easy starter. You know, no one's happy, folks. Nobody's happy.
Now, I did want to share, I forgot to share one thing when we were talking about Michelle. So give me just 1 second here to bring it up. If you'd like to know where Michelle actually is, that's how far she's rode already from Ensenada in Mexico.
Look how far south she's been pushed already, man.
Yeah, and the reason that she's been pushed that far south is because of the winds. So you can see that she's getting some pretty fierce, northerlies coming at the moment, but she's about to be swept into this channel, which will start pushing her along in the right direction, or at least the wind direction's going the right way. And it looks like the currents are going to go the right way for her too.
See where she is now, Carl. She's right in the middle of, like she said, But that's crazy seas because the winds and the coming, like we got to look on the swell as well. But I can tell by the way the winds are here and dissipating in that point where she is now. She's in really turbulent seas there, really turbulent. Yeah. But when she comes through there and, as you say, picks up that current flow, it'll be a different thing. But look how far south she is, guys. You know, and I was going to relate to this, Carl. We're all doing our own Pacific crossing, folks. When I was listening to Carl read out what Michelle said, we are all in this thing together. We are doing the same as Michelle. She's a more heroic person than us doing what she's doing, but we're all doing our Pacific cross, all right, our challenge, okay, and it's hard, and we got to put our foot in the right place each time, like she puts a paddle in the right place each time, all right, and she's got no one to group up with. Well, thank God we have got someone to group up with here. Right, we've got extra people around us. We're not doing it on our own. So if this chick can sail from friggin' Mexico to Sydney, I'm sure we can group up, get together, and by the time she gets here, have this country one back for her. That'd be a really good friggin' idea.
Yep, absolutely. Godspeed to her and keep her safe, because you can see from the image on your screen, folks, that is no small undertaking.
I've sailed from here to the Philippines, mate. I tell you what, I would sail that what she's doing, but I'd be sailing that in a 40, 60-foot cat. You know what I mean? Not in a little like 3-4 meter whatever it is box.
I think it's 7 meters long. 7 meters long.
Crazy, man, crazy.
Yeah, she's a terribly, terribly brave lady, and Godspeed to her. I've just had a bit of a look down my list. I think I've covered just about everything else. I don't know if you guys have got anything.
I want to say about that, Carl. There is something I want to say about that. Like, I mean, good on her for doing it, but this is what it is to be an Australian, really. We do things like this. But it's almost been wiped out of us. So, normally what would be happening is people would be going, oh, no, it's too dangerous. Oh, she's going to jeopardize this, or people are going to have to go and search for her. And so all of these nanny picking, but that's what it is to be Australian. We do things because it's there to be done. You know, it's
exactly right.
We go and we climb mountains. We go and we snowboard things that can't be done because that's who we are. And I think that we've forgotten that, you know?
No, because folks, you go, Carl, sorry.
No, I'm just going to say we do impossible things like Jas was saying. And, my great example is Daniel Ricciardo was able to get McLaren a win in that shitbox of a car they gave him. But that's just my point.
And picked up $37 million for dumping his contract and going to another driver, Carl. How's it good that?
I hadn't heard that. I hadn't heard what the actual figure was. So
37, man. 37.
Yeah, well. So let's get right off topic and talk Formula One for a second. That now leaves him open to accept a drive at Alpine, not Haas, but Alpine, and have Alpine pay him $1. Because the way that Formula One contracts work is that if he was to walk straight into another contract at Alpine for $30 million, he'd have to give $30 million back to McLaren.
Yeah.
All right. So, but he can choose not to take a wage off Alpine or any other team and just race for them because he's essentially already been paid. And they've said he's a free agent, so he can go and sign up with whoever. So if you look at it like that, Haas get a very good driver for nothing for 12 months. And in that 12 months, if Daniel can turn that Haas car around and put it up closer up the pointy end, then who knows? Lewis could be gone in the not too distant future. And we might be
able to help him, folks, because what I was going to roll into was I'm going to have a bit of a plug here for myself, Carl, where this is a bit of a funny thing, but we might just give it a go. All right. So 2 nights ago, we had a show. You're going to have to go and watch my show. I'm just going to put out one thing, the Guru coin. That's it.
We have a troll that suggested it. So we might
the Guru coin.
Yeah, Carl. We're thinking. Any publicity is good publicity, Carl. Whether we look like idiots or not, people are talking.
Have you got a temporary design you're going to share with us? You know, something you've mocked up.
We're looking into cryptocurrency that we can trade amongst ourselves.
Oh, that'll be great. We'll all be wealthy amongst ourselves.
Yeah, Tom Rogers come up with it. He said, why don't we get the Guru coin? So we thought, all right, well, let's does anyone out there know how to float a coin? This is probably a good idea.
He's a good man, isn't he, that Tom Rogers?
Oh, Tom, he's a classic. I wish he could do it in the election.
He's hopeless at elections, but hey, he's a good. Hey, speaking of elections now, I haven't caught up on the news today fully, but apparently at the Freedom Summit last night, I heard that Malcolm Roberts was there, and I think that he suggested that there was large election rigging going on in this country. So I do have to follow up on that. So forgive me if I've got that one wrong, but I'll be checking out.
Did that mean they needed a lot of ropes to hold up the signs for the election or something, that rigging word? Why don't you just use fraudulent?
Yeah, well...
the inquiry into the election has started, folks. It started on August the 11th and finishes on October the 7th. So if all of those complaints that you made to the AEC need to be remade now via the government website to the commission overlooking electoral issues, particularly those faced in the last federal election. So if you've made a complaint to the AEC, I'm just scanning now to try and find the link. I'm not sure if I got it in the email.
Really important. And it's really important too. Like, I've already done mine, but the weapons that we've got in this war are not necessarily like we can't use physical weaponry, but our weapons are our pens. Get out your pen. Right. These will make a difference. You know, they have a huge impact on things like inquiries.
That's right. But if you don't bother telling them, they'll quite happily not bother asking you.
That's
again.
Right.
They've made it pretty bloody quiet anyway.
Exactly.
And let's face it, we all have significant doubts that the people elected out of that election are going to find any misdeed in that election, because it will change the outcome of the bloody election in great likelihood. So, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't be complaining to the AEC. And when you complain, I beg your pardon, not to the AEC, but to the government inquiry. So go onto the government websites. You'll be able to find the inquiry listed there. There is a process where you can put your complaint, and all you need to do is explain what you saw and what happened to you that day at polling, just like you did for the AEC. That simple. One line will do it. I saw, cheating happen here. I saw somebody marking ballots that should have been counted as not countable for wrong reasons, all that sort of stuff. Everything that you saw there, write down in a line. It's all it needs to be. This inquiry needs to be flooded, almost to the point of, drowning them in the mail. A bit like what happened with Simeon and the postcards, I think. The government needs to be, or this inquiry needs to be flooded with complaints from the people. So get onto it, folks. Go and check out the government website. And fill out your complaint. Do it now. Do it tomorrow morning. Make sure you do it. But do it before October the 7th, because after that, they're not going to give two hoots what you think.
They've probably got a corrupt website, Carl, and half it doesn't even get there anyway. It probably just flicks off to this folder and disappears into thin air. We should be writing with our pens, like Kaz has said. But anyway.
Yep, I agree. Yep, that's all got to stop. Now, Kaz, I don't know whether it's happened in New South Wales. I haven't heard any further news other than there is a petition going around in Queensland at the moment, which I think I can actually share with you. Yeah. I think I can share with you.
I'm not up to speed with the resistance that I was meant to be catching up with Cole. I've been meaning to call him, but I'm just so busy at the moment. I'll try and give him a call sometime soon, because I know that there is resistance building to it. The bottom line is what it is it is discrimination, medical discrimination, whichever way you look at it. So there will be resistance that is going to be mounted, and it's going to be challenged. But it's just that the courts are a long, slow process, and we know that. It's hard to
do. Unfortunately, that is.
That's all right. We're chipping away at them.
Yeah, well, we are slowly but surely.
Let's just keep chipping.
Right. So here is the latest petition going around in Queensland, folks. It's to stop the pay cut for unvaccinated teachers in Queensland. It's at change.org, and in fact, cool. I will copy the link and drop it in the chat. If you are in Queensland and you support the idea of the unvaccinated teachers not having $20,000 docked from their wage because they stood up and stayed firm and didn't go and imbibe in the juicy dart. They came back when all of the education department said, we'll have you back now. Thanks, Miles. And as soon as those folks came back in good faith after they'd been treated so badly Then the education department, some numpty and bureaucrat who's never taught a kid in their friggin' life, I'll wager, comes up with this bright spark of an idea. This person needs to be dragged out into the fucking streets, whoever came up with this.
It is by design. So what's actually going on is it's a vertical integration with the social credit score system that our northern neighbours have got operational. And so this is why they're doing that. They're testing the waters and they're pushing, as I said, the pedals to the metal. They're going for broke. It's a race to the finish line. We've got to beat them there. So we have how do we beat them? We hold them back, we resist them, and we move ourselves forward. So even though it's filming, it feels like we're being overwhelmed and we're being hit on all fronts. That's also by design. It's so that we give up. Or we're Aussies, mate. We don't give up.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And look, they've got 1,009 signatures. So they need 1,500. There are 638 people that I can see watching the live show and just the rooms I'm monitoring at the moment. So if every one of you goes over to that petition right now, I put the link up. I'll put the link up here again right now. Sign that petition. Would probably help if you were in Queensland, but I don't know that it absolutely has to be. Sign that link and help
out, mate. Yeah.
You know what the problem is, Carl? These people have forgotten that bushrangers are our heroes and not politicians.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Yeah.
Do you think there'll ever be? Do you think that there'll ever be a Scotty and his mates? Movie down the track? And I mean, if there is, did you know that the first feature-length film was actually Ned Kelly, a Ned Kelly film made here?
Yes, it was. Yeah. Yep.
There you go.
And while we might like to think so, Mick Jagger wasn't in the original.
No. And we're all very pleased about that.
We are. All right, guys. Just about out enough. I want to wrap it up today, folks, with a smile. So I'm going to play a little clip to play us out tonight. So we'll get into that. Kaz, thank you very much for coming in and joining us. We love that. Yeah, group hug. Isn't that wonderful? Both hands in. Well, that looks more like I'm squeezing certain parts of you. But
no,
at
not
any
like
rate,
this, Carl, like this.
It's been a long time since I've been anything close to hug, mate, so I've forgotten.
You did. You got one 3 weeks ago when I met you at the airport, mate. That was a good
I
hug.
beg your pardon. Yeah, let's clarify. Got a hug 3 weeks ago from Guru at the airport. I just want to clarify. All right? Yeah, all right. Have a great weekend, guys. Don't go and do anything I wouldn't do. That leaves you wide open to go and do a whole heap of wild shit. So good luck.
Let's go.
All right, and I'll talk to you soon. And folks, just want to leave you with this one clip today, which I found, and there has been so much shit news in the world. Well, I just want to give you a bit of a smile. It gave me a smile. It really melted my heart. Don't forget, 21st of September on the Sunshine Coast. If you want to come, the Waterfront Tavern in Diddillabah. You give them a call, book, tell them you want to be. You're coming to the Voice of Freedom gig. Maybe book a table for dinner. Come in and have dinner with us beforehand. We'll be eating from 5:30, and we'll open the doors to the room about 7 o'clock. Obviously, those folks who've booked a table and eat will get a seat before anybody else who just rolls up on the night. So to pay money, take your chances in that regard. But book a seat, come and have dinner with us, folks. We'd love to see you. And then we'll put the show on shortly after that. I do have a little bit of Ricardo news. I spoke with Rio today. Rhiannon, his wife. As you know, we're coming to Sydney. That's going to be happening in the second week of September. Now, I put in the request to catch up with him. I said, and I'll actually bring Guru back in because he's sitting there at the moment. Guru, I had this chat with Rhiannon today and said, look, I'm happy to catch up with Rick if he's happy to catch up with me. Happy to do that just one-on-one somewhere quiet. We don't have to do it with an audience. But I said, if he wants an audience, then let me know because I'm going to have to organise a room. We have had a few people in Sydney who've indicated the Panthers Club, the Rudy Hill RSL. These are all 1,000-seat rooms.
Oh, Rudy Hill.
Yeah,
Rudy
I
Hill.
don't believe.
You'll love Rudy Hill and Mount Druitt, mate.
So, well, no, mate. I did a show at Rudy Hill RSL many years ago. Country Music Awards.
Love you.
Yeah,
hey, you got real lockers out there, mate. Don't you?
Oh yeah. Yep, no, that's all good. But at any rate, we're looking for a room. And I said, well, I don't think I can fill a 1,000-seat room, but I think Rick might be able to. So if he wants to do that, let us know and we'll approach the Panthers or somewhere. We'll, we've got a few people in Sydney who've contacted me. Folks, contact me again, voiceoffreedomhq@gmail.com, and we'll hit it up. I'll find out for sure whether or not we can lock this away early next week, but then we're going to need a room. And if he does want to do this, then we'll make it a big night. So
we got the contacts down here to do that, Carl. I've got plenty of people down here, mate. They're in the know. We'll be able to pull something if that's going to go, mate. But yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Roger that. Kev's out there at his bush survival school at the moment. They're watching. Thanks, Kev. Great, mate. Sorry I can't be there for the bashing of the steel this weekend, but I'm coming. Don't you worry. We will be coming back. Go Rodney Rood at the RS Hill. The RS Hill. Now throw the board at me. Still reckon that's one of the best jokes ever.
Mate. Yeah.
I haven't heard of Rodney in a little while.
No.
I've led an interesting life. I used to be Col Elliott's tour manager.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for about a year. I ran around on the road with Col. We've been mates for years. I was the first breakfast. I was the first breakfast radio announcer in the country to get him to come in and do breakfast with him whenever he came close to a town. And now he does it everywhere he goes. But So Col's an old mate, and that's why I was at the Rudy Hill RSL. He was comparing a country music awards. I was his road manager, but that night I was the stage manager for the whole show. So it turned out I'll tell you an interesting story about me and Gina Jeffries after that night. I'm sure she doesn't remember it, but it made a huge impression on me. At any rate, so that's the news on Ricardo Bosi. Very busy at the moment. The publishers are onto him because he's working very hard on his book, or the Law of War, So there's a lot of work going on there. But yeah, hope to have him back real soon. And if we get to Sydney and he's able, he's under a great deal of time pressure. He may not be in Sydney at the time when I'm in Sydney. So anyway, we're going to try and figure it out. We'll know all about it next week. So be watching Monday night. Maybe I might have an answer for you then with what's going on. Guru, love your work. I'm going to stop talking and play the best clip you're going to see all week. Sure. All right?
Give it to
All right. Oh, sorry, mate. Love you, folks. Thank you very much for your support. You can go and check us out at VoFHQ. .com and the new website. It's still just a landing site, but the guy working on the website and I had a conversation half an hour before I got on air tonight. We should have something up in the next week or so that will at least be a beginning for us. Once again, thank you for your support. If you care to help us, there's a donate button there. That's about the only thing on the page that does work, but we're going to change that in the near future. Now, because we have so many shitty things going on in our world, I came across a video, I think it was last night or early this morning, that almost gave me a tear. Almost. If I wasn't the hard-hearted bastard that I really am, it probably would have had me bawling my eyes out. So I thought I wanted to share this with you because it just made me feel so good. And I hope it makes you feel really good too. Thank you again for all your support, folks. Have a great weekend. Be safe on the roads. And when you watch this video, well, I'm sure you'll know what you think of.
Yeah. Hello. Hello. I never seen that face before. Hi. Are you emotional? You're gonna make me cry. Hi. You see her little chin. Hi. Yeah, are you gonna be emotional like your mama? Yeah. You're so sweet. Yeah. 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 I love you. I love you. Oh.
I just wanted to see if you were crying or not. Just beautiful, isn't it? Just beautiful. Anyway, love you folks. Thanks, Guru. Thanks, Cass, for popping in. Thanks for sticking with us, folks, and enjoy your weekend.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!